Today, let's start with Sophocles' Oedipus Rex. Originally, the play is written in the Greek language, and the Greek title is Oedipus Rex, and translated as King Oedipus. Sophocles is one of the leading writers in Greek language, and is believed to have produced 120 plays, of which many of them are missing. Only 6 to 7 are counted to have existed. So, while dealing with any Greek or classical plays, you have to keep in mind certain conditions of producing tragedy. In Greek tragedies, 4 or 5 conditions emerge that govern the entire play. The most important condition of the Greek or any classical tragedy is that many of them were based on epic, or you may say legend, or you may say myth. And the second point condition is that the role of fate, this means destiny. Role of fate always has always been dominant in Greek classical tragedies. It is fate that controls our household affairs, our future course, or it controls the very design of the protagonist. And when the role of fate is here, this means human beings can't enjoy free will. If someone has free will, this means destiny has no role to play in it. This means human beings are deprived of free will. They are shown to be the puppet of fate or destiny. This means our future, our life has already been fixed, and there is no way to escape from it. This condition determines the course of Greek tragedy. Next condition is the figure of the protagonist. In Greek tragedies, the protagonist, or who we call the hero, cannot be an ordinary man. He must be a man of heroic personality. He must be a king. He must be a prince. He must be a great warrior. And why in classical tragedy great men are presented as heroes? Because tragedy that emanates from the legendary figure is believed to have evoked pity and fear in the mind of the audience. In simple way, or in short, we are drawn to the tragic destiny of that person who falls from a higher strata and ultimately moves towards the final tragic outcome of his life. This is one condition. Another condition is the tragic or individual flaw on the part of the tragic hero. So the hero may be a legendary figure. He may be a man of high status, but he must possess an individual flaw, or you may say an error of judgment. Although highly experienced, the hero is shown to possess an individual flaw that is considered to be the responsible factor behind his tragic outcome. This means within these circumstances, the hero is forced to work without any moral bias. He is forced to work giving deep ear to the outside circumstances, and in the very process, he invites tragedy. Another aspect of tragedy, so far as Greek tragedies are concerned, is the climax, or you may say there are two Greek words. One is called anagnorisis and peripeteia, or as translated into English, you may say discovery of action preceded by reversal of action, or at first comes reversal of action. So the action moves as it is. There is no climax, no change of fortune, but suddenly the action takes a U-turn. And as soon as the action takes a U-turn, this U-turn is important in a tragedy, so as to divert the protagonist, life from positivity to negativity. This means he he clarifies, he makes his road to tragedy too much very clear, and this is very essential, and this is called reversal of action. And reversal of action is always followed by discovery of action. As soon as the tragic action takes an U-turn, suddenly the hero realizes that his way of life is full of mistakes and or you must say errors, and there is no way out but to bear the painful reality of his life. Next point of Greek tragedy is moral justice, and you should keep in mind that any dramatic activities, either it be Greek drama, Assamese drama, or English drama, they have their roots in religion. So the moral justice cannot be overlooked while dealing with any tragedy. Similarly, Greek tragedies were written to assert the dominance of good over the evil. This means the Greek tragedy ended with the triumph of good over the evil, and evil is always punished. But to some extent, Sophocles' King Oedipus is different. Different in the sense that here the theme of the play is not about who will win, good will win or bad will win. The play is completely confined to the role of destiny, that is to exert its influence on the tragic hero, particularly King Oedipus. Okay, let's move to the play King Oedipus. So while dealing with this play, you have to keep in mind the conditions that I have discussed. So the story begins with a flashback, and when the story begins, so many actions have already taken place, and the story is actually coming to an end, or the story begins with the end of the actual story, and the story is completely based on the mythical figure King Oedipus, and you will come across a number of characters like King Oedipus, his brother-in-law Creon, his wife his wife and mother Jocasta, and the blind seer, means prophet Tiresias. They all are drawn from the Greek myth, or you may say Greek mythology, whatever it may be. So I would like to summarize the story to have a clear idea in your mind. So here we have two kingdoms, so you have to keep in mind. First kingdom is Corinth, and second kingdom is Thebes. Okay. And the hero, you mean the king, when the play begins, he is Oedipus and he is the biological son of Laius and Jocasta. Okay, don't forget this point. Oedipus is the biological son of Laius and Jocasta. And Laius and Jocasta, along with Oedipus, they belong to the kingdom called Thebes. Okay. There is another country and second kingdom. Second kingdom is known as Corinth. 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 In this kingdom, you will come across the parents Polybus and Moropo. Polybus. Polybus and Meropo. They are also King Oedipus's parents, but they are not biological parents of King Oedipus. Clear concept? Oedipus is the biological son of Laius and Jocasta, and Oedipus is the non-biological. This means Oedipus has adopted parents, or you may say stepson of Polybus and Morop, who belong to the kingdom of Corinth. Actually, when Oedipus is born, just leave this sentence. Then we have one character. So protagonist is King Oedipus. When the play begins, protagonist is King Oedipus. He is married to his own mother unknowingly, and his mother is, I said, Jocasta. This means Oedipus is not only the biological son of Jocasta, but also the husband of his own mother. Later, he will marry his own mother unknowingly or out of ignorance. Then we have second character of importance. He is Creon. Creon is Oedipus's brother-in-law. Then the third character is Tiresias. Tiresias is an immortal character in Greek mythology, and he is a blind prophet. He never dies. He knows everything what is happening. And wise people comes to meet him and seeks advice from him. Then we have two more characters. They are very minor characters. Antigone and Ismene. They are the daughters of King Oedipus. Okay, now I think the characterization is too clear to you. Now let's move to the story. Now the question is, whether you summarize the story from the beginning of the actual narrative, or you will go with a flashback. Okay, let's start from the very beginning of the story. There are two leading words throughout the story. One is Delphi and second one is oracle. So oracle is a oracle is a wise person who somehow predicts or prophesies the happenings, and wise people seeks advice from oracle, what he should do or what he should not. Delphi is also a kind of place where people go and seeks advice in the temple of Apollo. These two ideas you should keep in mind. So let's move to the circumstances leading to the birth of King Oedipus. Before King Oedipus was born, Laius and Jocasta, they are growing old and they remain childless for so many years. Then they went to the temple of Apollo, and under the blessings of Apollo, they gave birth to a son, King Oedipus. Okay, so as soon as King Oedipus is born, a prophecy took place. This means that the oracle of Delphi predicted that the newborn son one day will murder his own father and marry his own mother. Clear? Then to get rid of this prediction, Laius wanted to kill the baby, and he asked the queen, his wife Jocasta, to murder the baby. Then what did Jocasta do? She binds the feet of the baby with a pin and appointed a shepherd to kill the baby. And see the word Oedipus. The word Oedipus means swollen foot. And when the baby was supposed to be thrown, so his feet were fixed up with a pin, whatever it may be. So the shepherd took the baby to kill. But according to the leading version, the shepherd did not kill a baby. He rather passed the baby to another shepherd. Okay. And this shepherd, because of sympathy or unable to bear the pain resulting from the murder of the baby, second shepherd passed the baby to the nearest kingdom known as Corinth. And the king and queen of Corinth had no children. Now, the king of Corinth is Polybus and the king is Merope. So both the childless parents decided to adopt the baby King Oedipus. And in this way, King Oedipus is growing up. And this baby is named King Oedipus. Okay. He's a very young, handsome, gay fellow who is a representative tragic hero of Greek tragedy. So up to that point, we have an important stage of the story. Then one day, this King Oedipus will go to visit the oracle. And from the oracle, he comes to know that one day he will murder his own father and marry his own mother. So, up to that point, King Oedipus knows it that he has no idea who actually his biological parents are, because the very moment he is born, he is shifted to another kingdom, Corinth. Clear? So he thinks that Polybus and Merope are his biological parents, and he has no idea. He thinks Polybus and Merope are his biological parents, and he is now brought up. He is growing up. He is a young soldier, young prince. As soon as the prediction or the prophecy takes place, now he thinks that if he remains in the kingdom of Corinth, in the company of his supposed parents, Polybus and Merope, he may kill Polybus somehow, or he may marry his own mother, Merope. So it's a great sin that how can a son kill his father and marry his own mother? One is patricide, second is incestuous relationship with his mother. Now, in order to get rid of this prophecy, King Oedipus decides to leave his kingdom Corinth. Clear? Corinth is his not actual kingdom, nor Polybus and Merope were his actual or biological parents. But Oedipus thinks that Polybus and Merope are his biological parents. So to get rid of the sin, King Oedipus decides to leave the parents. Okay? Now on the very way to the nearest kingdom, this means King Oedipus is moving towards Thebes. Yeah, he is moving towards his actual kingdom where he was born. So on the very way, he came across a number of people who indulged in a debate along with King Oedipus. So the place where the debate argument took place, the place was a crossroad. You may call it Tiniali or Sariali. Crossroad where the argument takes place. The travelers were quite unknown, as he was so the crossroads was just at the very entry of the kingdom of Thebes. So he, out of dilemma, he killed so many travelers, and along with the travelers, his biological father Laius was also here. This means either out of ignorance or without the premonition or the knowledge, the first prophecy has come true. This means he has murdered unknowingly his own father, thinking that Laius is none other but an ordinary traveler. So he killed so many people, so many travelers on the way when the argument took place, but only one surviving witness was left. Okay? And when he entered the kingdom of Thebes, first the king Laius was murdered by Oedipus. Then he met Jocasta. So as the rule is concerned, when the king is murdered, the queen has the right to marry another one. So King Oedipus entered the kingdom of Thebes and found Jocasta with her husband, and he married Jocasta out of ignorance. This means second prophecy has come true. He has murdered his own father and married his own mother. The two prophecies come true. Up to that point, we have the second stage of the story. Clear? Two prophecies come true. From his non-biological parents, he has come to the kingdom of biological parents, killing his own father and marrying his own mother. Now the third stage of the story. So killing his father and the murderer receiving no punishment, at the same time marrying his own biological mother is an unpardonable sin. Okay, so the consequence of this accident or incestuous relationship will invite severe condition to the public of Thebes. The kingdom of Thebes is ravaged or devastated by a new type of plague. The kingdom is left drought, sukhapan hoy gol, and there is no food supply, no crops grow, and the public of the kingdom of Thebes, they come to complain the king, they come to meet the king to have a solution to get rid of this plague. Clear? Then so up to that point we have another phase of the story. Now when you read the original play, means the book, from when I start reading the book, the story of the drama begins here when a number of people come to meet King Oedipus. At this time, King Oedipus is married to Jocasta, and by Jocasta he has two daughters, Antigone and Ismene. And from that very moment, the story of King Oedipus, or you may say the first act of King Oedipus, begins. So many actions have taken place up to that point. So this is the actual beginning of the story. Now let's me move from that point onward. So when a number of people come to get help from the king is also, he is without answer why that suddenly the plague has taken place. So he couldn't answer them. Then he called in Tiresias, a blind prophet who has the knowledge of both past and the present as well as future. So when Tiresias arrived, the king requested him to find out the solution and what is the reason behind such epidemic. Then Tiresias made it clear that it is because of the fact, this means the murderer of the king has not been caught yet. This means the murderer of Laius, the former king of the present kingdom, means the murderer of Thebes, has not been caught yet, nor has been given any punishment to the murderer. So this is the one reason that the king is devastated by plague. Second reason, there is some type of the whole moral order is polluted by a person who is still living, enjoying a lot in the fairy kingdom. Then the king actually, he thought over this and he could not catch the word of Tiresias. He then asked Tiresias, please clarify it. So I am giving my word to catch the murderer of the king Laius, and I will find out the culprit who has polluted the entire moral order of our kingdom. And he insisted, you have to answer. Then Tiresias says that, or he remains speechless. He could not answer. He knows that the actual figure who has polluted the moral order, who has married his own mother and killed his own father, is none other but by King Oedipus himself. So he couldn't answer. Then he only used a riddle. In a roundabout way, he says that problem lies with the main figure of the head. This means problem lies with the king. This means Oedipus himself. Oedipus was shocked and he was in a dilemma. He again insisted Tiresias, no, you have to clarify yourself, otherwise you will be punished. Let me know frankly. Then King Oedipus, then Tiresias clarified that king himself is responsible for the great plague. Then king was very angry and he could not tolerate this, and he said that no, you must be planning me to overthrow from my own kingdom. You need to be punished. See, Oedipus is a blind prophet, blind. He says that you are not only physically blind, you are also mentally blind. You are old enough. You should be sent to jail. No need to come here. Then Tiresias is taken into custody. Then he invited Creon. Creon is his own biological brother-in-law. He accused both Creon and Tiresias that both of them are trying to overthrow the present king of Thebes. Then he accused Creon. Then Creon was also speechless. At this moment, he gave word to the public that in any way he will try his best to catch the murderer of the king and to bring justice and peace to the entire kingdom. He even announced a reward for the person who can bring the murderer of Laius to the kingdom. But still he is in a dilemma. Then his wife Jocasta came to console him. So this is up to that point we have discussed another stage of the story.